Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Victoria and this is Time and Tenderness. So guys, in this week's video, I thought it was high time to share with you all a pregnancy update. So I am in my third trimester, and let me show you my belly bump. Yep, I have gotten significantly bigger since the last time you and I spoke. Well, we've talked a couple times here and there, but specifically about pregnancy. I think the last pregnancy video I did was my pregnancy favorites videos, and I've just been doing my normal content since then, but I thought you guys might enjoy a pregnancy update video. So that's what this video is going to be all about today. So first things first, how far along am I now? I am well into my third trimester. We have chosen not to share my exact due date, but the countdown will be on soon. So in a couple of weeks, my window of the possibility of baby coming will be opening. I'm not going to share too much because I don't want to put that stress on myself, because as you know, if you've been following me for a while, you know I am also a birth doula. So because of my background as being a birth doula, I have a lot of opinions about pregnancy and labor and birth and the postpartum period from my educational background as a birth doula that I have decided to implement with this pregnancy. And the biggest one being is keeping our due date private. Not only private, but not thinking about it, because now here I'm going to go on a tangent, which I don't know if you guys are going to appreciate or not, because due dates, they don't really mean anything. So a healthy pregnancy can last anywhere between 36, 37 weeks to 42 weeks. A due date is right in the middle. So your 40th week, that is kind of the average. That is when we know everything is safe for baby to come. But really, the baby can come 2 weeks sooner or a little 2 weeks later. So there's that. And only 5% of babies are actually born on their due date. So 5% of all pregnancies, only 5% of those babies will actually be born on their due date. So there's days where people will ask me, oh, what's your due date? And I'm like, I forgot. I'll genuinely forget until I go to the doctor's office and I have to like look up my calendar to give my doctor the information, or when I have to go to LabCorp and give them information for blood testing. So yeah, I'm not holding the due date above my head or anything. We're not thinking about it too much, but we know the time is coming and the countdown will be on here shortly. If you hear any background noises, Layla is right here next to me. She's always next to me these days, and I have the front door open to let some more light in, with the screen door open, so the traffic might go by. So if you hear any background noise, that's that. So a couple days ago, I asked on Instagram if you guys could send me some Q&A questions to answer for this video specifically. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into those questions right now and answer as many of them as I can. So the first question is, how are you and your husband feeling about the upcoming changes? I have to say we are very excited. We know that there's going to be some hard points and some difficulties along the way. We understand that, but we are very excited for this life change. This is something that we have been looking forward to for a very long time. Before my husband and I were even started like officially dating, we went over like our life goals and where we saw ourselves in the future. And both of us, it was really a goal to have a family one day. So being here now, being at this crossroads of life, is something that we are very excited for. My husband has recently started showing his excitement a whole lot more, and I can see that he is super excited. But he came up to me the other day and he goes, babe, I'm sorry if it doesn't seem like I'm excited. And I was like, no, you're always excited. So him saying that he thinks he's not excited enough tells me that he's like really, really, really excited, because I can see how excited he is. He talks to my belly all the time. He talks about all the things that he wants to do with the baby when the baby is born, all the things he wants to teach the baby when the baby is born. So we are so excited, and the changes, we are ready to embrace them. We are ready to tackle them, and we are looking forward to it. Somebody asked more of a homemaking question. They asked, you know, where like what our living situation is and what kind of career area my partner is in. And these questions always come up when I do Q&A questions, because people kind of want to know you know, what goals to set for themselves or what to look for if they want to have a future in homemaking. So I will answer this question really quick. And we own our own home, so yes, we do have like a mortgage, but that's like the only major bill that we have. And my husband is a mechanical maintenance planner at a power plant. So he went to community college for that. He went to high school that had a trade program, and then that went into a community college, so it's community college education, and then got hired at a local power plant for that position. My husband did start off as a mechanic at that power plant, an industrial mechanic. And if you think of the word mechanic, you think cars and engines and motors, and you think small, like a car engine isn't small. But compared to the engines that my husband works on, used to physically work on, and now he still works on these engines. He just handles the planning of them now and like the logistics of it now. These are engines that are the size of my house. So if you don't know what those are, these are diesel engines that are meant to be backup generators for in the event of an emergency, so that the power plant can continue generating power, so that the power plant doesn't overheat, stuff like that. So these are big duty heavy equipment that my husband works on and is involved with. In some of my older videos, I did mention that I used to be an esthetician. So that was something that I did for 5 years before getting married. When I moved out to the country where we live now, I could not find work. I did attempt to go back to work just because I enjoyed my job so much. I loved making people feel beautiful and making them feel relaxed, just like Layla is right now. And that was something I just really genuinely loved to do. And when I did go back to looking for work, I couldn't find any in the local area, and I would have had to travel pretty far out to find work. And at that, when you're traveling that far at that point, then you're only making enough money to put gas in your tank, and it just wasn't working. So you can go back and watch some of my older videos. I think it was the Getting Married at 22 video where I go into in depth about that. So this is a question from my friend Laura, and if she's watching this video, she can leave a comment down below. She asks if I am eating them fish eggs, and no, I am not. I have not ordered them yet. And what she means by that is she's my friend here in Maryland. She just recently also had a baby, and her and I have gotten really close bonding with pregnancies and stuff like that and babies. And what she did was she ate salmon roe, which are salmon fish eggs, during her 3rd trimester, because that was the best way to get omega-3s and healthy fats for the baby in. And I know a lot of people say you shouldn't eat raw fish or raw things like that, but specifically salmon roe, when you eat it when it's really, really cold, there's very minimal bacteria and very minimal chance for you to get sick from it. So, and it's very, very, very beneficial for you and for baby in your 3rd trimester. So I have not ordered the salmon fish eggs yet. I have been meaning to, and I know I need to because I just need to get those healthy fats back in my system and get baby nice and healthy, and well, he's healthy now, and me even healthier to prepare for labor and birth. So this is the next question. How are you doing at night? 37 weeks this week, so this person's also pregnant, and she finds that no position is comfortable. So I'm doing okay at night right now. I know it's probably going to get more uncomfortable as the weeks go on, but I am getting good sleep. I am very thankful that I am getting good sleep right now. So I have my pregnancy pillow, which I showed off in my pregnancy favorites video. I did get another pregnancy pillow that's more of a wedge that I sleep kind of on. It holds my belly up because I sleep on my side, and I sleep with a pillow between my legs at night. So I have all these pillows. My husband says I have a pillow fort in the bed, but I just need all these pillows to like support me in certain ways, to help me not roll over on my back so much, because when I do roll over on my back, I can feel the weight of the baby kind of suffocating me a little bit. So I don't want that to happen, so that's why I kind of maneuver everything. But it has been a little bit more uncomfortable in recent weeks. My hips hurt a lot at night, especially if I'm lying on my side. The pain will actually wake me up, and I'll have to roll over in bed and get on the other side, which is kind of a problem because the baby, he likes it when I'm sleeping on my right side. He's fine when I'm sleeping on my right side, but as soon as I move onto my left side, he starts like kicking me through my stomach, almost like he's trying to jump on the bed, almost. that's what it feels like, and it hurts. It kind of pinches with my pajamas and with the pillow that I kind of wedge between my belly and the bed. So I'll be lying there just for a little bit of a reprieve for my right side, and he'll start kicking and jumping, I call it, because that's what it feels like. And it'll hurt, and then I'll have to go back on my right side. I have been seeing a chiropractor, and that helps so much. So before I started seeing a chiropractor, I started seeing a chiropractor around 22-ish weeks. And before that, when I would lay on my side, my legs would go numb. So not my entire leg, but a portion of my leg would go numb. And so I decided to go to the chiropractor, and she told me because my uterus is growing, it's probably pulling on some ligaments and some tendons, and that's why it's making my legs go numb. So since starting going to the chiropractor, the numbness has completely subsided, and now I'm just dealing with the usual hip pain and lower back pain that you just normally get throughout the day. I did get a pregnancy belt that I'll wear if I'm doing a lot of activity around the house, like cleaning or just on my feet all day, and it gives me some added support, and that helps a lot too. But just in general, I've just been dealing with the pain at night. There's nothing I can really do about it. After I go to the chiropractor for about 2-3 days after an adjustment, it's better, but then I'm back to feeling the pain again, and then I'm due for my next appointment. So now that I'm in my 3rd trimester, I'm going every week, and once I hit 34, 35, 36 weeks, I will be going twice a week, so that my hips and everything can be all aligned in preparation for labor. So somebody asked if we have a name picked out, and yes, we do have a name picked out, but I will be announcing the name when he's here. A few people know the name. People in our real life social circles know the name, and our family knows the name, but for here online presence, I'm just keeping it to myself, so I'll surprise you guys when he's finally here. But yes, if I didn't say it before, and if you've been totally lost, we are having a boy, and I am so excited. At first, I do have to admit I had some gender disappointment because I was really hoping for a girl. Something about having a little girl to raise and dress and teach how to cook and clean and all that stuff was something that was really appealing to me, and something that I had my mind set on for a while. And it took me about 2 weeks to accept that we were having a boy. And gender disappointment, it does not mean that I love my child any less. It just means I had psyched myself up for one thing, but now I'm getting another. But doesn't mean I'm not happy. I am absolutely thrilled, and now I'm used to it. And yes, I can still teach my son how to cook and clean and dress him in cute little boy clothes and all that other fun stuff that I was looking forward to with a girl. I can still do with my boy. And you know what? I also get to see him have a wonderful relationship with his father. Like I mentioned before, my husband talks about all the things he can't wait to do with our son, and I am now really excited to see all those things. Like yesterday, my husband asked, you know, when is he gonna be old enough that I can take him to teach him how to chop wood and how to fish and all this stuff? And I'm like, he's probably gonna need to be a little bit older, but I'm sure he'll love as a baby to watch you do those things. So those are some things that I'm looking forward to, becoming a new mom with a little boy. So somebody asked me if we have a birth plan, and yes, we do. So as a birth doula, a birth plan is something that I go over with all my clients, and I help them do it. So it was very easy for me to sit down and make ours. So I'll go over our birth plan briefly. So if I didn't mention it before, we are hoping to have the baby at a birth center. Now, what is the difference between a birth center and a hospital? Well, a birth center is a place specifically for giving birth. So it is a happy medium between a home birth and a hospital birth. So at a birth center, I have access to a tub that I can labor in. I have access to a shower. Instead of a hospital bed, we have a king size bed. There's a little kitchen there that we can, you know, continue to eat and drink while I'm in labor. And I get to go home the same exact day. So after the baby is born, I'll stay about 3 to 4 hours just to make sure that I'm healthy, baby's healthy, any bleeding that I might have has subsided, and it's safe for me to go home, and we get to go home the same day. So that's something that's really appealing to me. And on top of that, because it's a happy medium between a hospital and a home birth, the birth center does have some emergency equipment available in the event of an emergency. And this particular birth center that we are delivering at, they are affiliated with a hospital. So if I needed to because of an emergency, transfer over to the hospital, or if I'm in the middle of labor and I completely change my mind, I can easily transfer over to a hospital. No questions asked, no drama, nothing. They have an already well-established relationship with a hospital. So we are having the baby at a birth center. So my birth plan might look a lot different from a traditional labor and delivery center, labor and delivery floor birth plan. So here's what my birth plan has. So at the top of my birth plan, I have my accompanying labor team. That is me, my husband, my doula's name, as well as my mother. My mother will be able to be present, as well as some private family information about, well, not family information, just private information like their contact information and stuff that my midwives would need to know. And then the next section down is environment. So for my birthing environment, I am hoping for dim lighting when possible. I have a labor playlist that I have been actively working on that I would like to be listening to. And my goal is to labor at home, here at home, as long as possible and as long as it is safe to do so. The next segment that I have on my birth plan is monitoring. So I put down that I would like the handheld fetal Doppler monitoring, which is a given at a birth center. That's all the midwives use, is the little handheld one. I'm not strapped to any machines or anything. Just about every 20 to 30 minutes they'll come up, put the handheld one on my belly, listen to him for about 30 seconds, and then I can move along my merry way. And I also put in there, in addition to the handheld fetal monitor, that I would like to be monitored in whichever position I am in. So that is also another pro to a birth center, is I'm not going to be stuck to a bed. I'm not going to be stuck to any machinery. The midwives are available and they are willing to get into whatever position they need to get into to do the monitoring. So if I'm in the tub, they'll reach down and they'll monitor in the tub. If I'm on my hands and knees, they won't make me stand up. They'll just reach under me and, you know, get the heart rate whatever way they need to get it. And the last thing I asked for is that I will personally ask for a vaginal internal examination. You know, the examination that they, you know, determine the dilation and where the baby is inside. That is the beauty of a birth center, is that the mother is very much in control of a lot of other things, and the midwives are very hands off, and they let, as long as labor is progressing normally and smoothly and there's no signs of fetal or mother distress, they're very hands off. And they just let labor progress how it's naturally supposed to progress. So I don't want them to say, hey, do you want us to check you? I will personally ask, because I just know that I might get that if I think in my head that I'm at 1 centimeter, but then they check me and I'm at another, I might get depressed or I might get bummed. And as a doula, I've seen clients, I've had that happen to clients. They'll think, oh, I'm surely at 6 centimeters dilated. I'm surely 7 centimeters dilated. And then the nurse checks them and they're only 5 centimeters dilated, and they get super discouraged and super disappointed, and it kind of draws out their labor a little bit more, because whereas before they were rocking and rolling and they were coping through all of their contractions, now they're disappointed because in their mind they thought they were one place, but really they were in a completely different place, and that can inhibit the progression of labor. The next section I have on my birth list, on my birth plan, is laboring. And in that section, I said I would like to move about freely. I would like to eat and drink when I want to. I would like to try as many laboring positions as I would like to, as long as it is safe to do so. And I would like to push with my own urges, but I will accept physical touch guidance. So let me explain that a little bit. So when we see birth videos, or when we think about the pushing stages of birth, oftentimes we get that image in our head of the mother in bed, the nurses around them, and while the mother is pushing, the nurses are counting to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. That really is not a good way to push. You should be pushing with your contractions. When your body is telling you you should push, you should push. That it saves you energy, and it's the most effective way to push with your body. When you're being told to push, but you might not be feeling the need to push yet, you're kind of exhausting yourself a little bit. So that's why it was important to me to be able to push when I feel like I need to. That way I'm conserving energy. The second part of that is I would like, let me see how I put it, I would accept physical touch guidance. So what does that mean? Oftentimes, well, when it's your first time pushing out a baby, you really don't understand how to push a lot of times. I understand how to push because I've attended so many births and I've watched so many births take place, and I've listened to the midwives that are attending those births that I've attended. And I kind of have in my mind, I know how to push, what muscles that I need to be targeting to push. But what happens sometimes in labor is that Layla is next to me and she is dreaming and she is barking in her sleep. So if you hear any noises. But going back to being physically helped to push, sometimes you might get confused, and I've seen mothers do this. They'll push with their abs and they think like, you know, pushing their stomach down is what's gonna get the baby born. No. How you wanna push, and this might sound a little vulgar for my channel here, but how you wanna push is the same movement of when you're having a bowel movement. So the same way you would have a bowel, you push for a bowel movement, is the same way you push to push the baby out. And sometimes in the throes of labor, you forget that. So what helps is the midwives will actually put their fingers down on you and say, push where my fingers are pushing, or push where my fingers are. Try and push through my fingers. And having that physical touch guidance really helps you connect with your brain where you actually need to push. So if in the event that I need that, I am requesting it and I'm okay with that type of physical touch. Okay, so the next part of my birth plan is I titled After Birth. Ooh, I'm getting a little bit out of breath here. So the after birth part. So I wrote down that it is important to me to minimize blood loss, so I will be accepting a dose of Pitocin after the birth. So one of my biggest fears is a postpartum hemorrhage or some type of blood loss on my part that would require me to go over to the hospital and have to stay at the hospital. Again, it's really important that it's really important to me that I get to go home the same day that the baby is born. I just picture my recovery being a whole lot more smoother here at home in my own bed with my family around me. So that's something that's really important to me. So to minimize the potential risk of potential blood loss, I am asking for them to give me a shot of Pitocin in my leg, which will help my uterus to contract and the blood to stop bleeding after the baby is born. So that is why I am requesting that. I am also requesting that I do not want to be separated from my baby. At a birth center, that's a given, but in the back of my mind, I had to have it written down. And in the event of an emergency, my husband will stay with the baby and I will go get the emergency situated. But it is important to me that my husband stays with the baby and my husband agrees. We don't want to leave the baby just came out of something traumatic too. It's also traumatic for babies to go through labor. So he's gonna stay with the baby and I will go get checked out if I need to be. I would like skin to skin as soon as possible for as long as possible. So I might include some educational resources in the description below, but skin to skin contact after birth between mother and baby is extremely, extremely important. Babies cannot regulate their blood temperature by themselves. So they've been inside warm at one temperature the entire time that they've been alive, and now they're born and now they're in a different temperature and they might be chilly. So having him put on my chest and me being able to do skin to skin and regulate his body temperature for him when he is unable to is something that is very important to me. The next thing is I would like the umbilical cord to be allowed to pulse for as long as possible before cutting. So the midwives went over this with me at the last visit. So they do practice delayed cord clamping. So when a baby is born, some of their blood is still in the placenta. And as soon as the baby is born, the placenta starts pulsing the blood to the baby, and so the baby can get most of their blood back. So it's important to me that they know the umbilical cord isn't clamped or cut for at a minimum of 1 minute or at a length of 5 minutes, so that he gets most of his blood back and so that he's not so groggy, and so that he has all of his blood, because it would be a huge problem as an adult if we were to experience the same amount of blood loss that babies do when their cords are clamped too quickly. And the last thing on that list is that my husband will be cutting the cord. So I think just about everybody has that on their list as well. The last section I have on my birth plan is called baby care. So in that section I put I would like to breastfeed as soon as possible. I would like help with breastfeeding, and we are opting in for the erythromycin eye drops, and I am asking for that to be done at the very last moment. So I'm asking for that to be done right before we leave the birth center. So you might be wondering, if you have any knowledge about birth and stuff, you might be wondering, Victoria, why are you getting the erythromycin eye drops? I thought the eye drops had to do with disease and STDs. Yes, so let me explain. So the history of erythromycin eye drops goes back decades. Back to a time when a lot of women were unaware that they had an STD, such as gonorrhea, syphilis, stuff like that. The testing was not available. So it started out as all babies would be given these eye drops to prevent that disease from getting into their eyes so that they wouldn't go blind. So nowadays we have the testing and we know if we are carrying something or not. I'm not carrying anything. I'm very proud to say that, but I am hoping for a water birth. So what is something that sometimes happens when we're having a baby? Sometimes a little bit of poop happens, and I know it's really gross and I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about it, but if I'm having a water birth and that does happen, erythromycin also protects against E. coli infections. So all the bad bacteria that is present in poop, the erythromycin will get rid of that as well. So if I have a water birth and poop happens, I want him to get those eye drops just to make sure that none of that yuckiness went into his eyes. So that is our reasoning for opting in for the erythromycin eye drops. If I was not having a water birth, if I was just having a land birth in the hospital, I would be totally opting out for the erythromycin eye drops because it can make their vision blurry in those first couple of hours. And although newborns are born not being able to see clearly when they're first born, they still need to be able to see, if you're planning on breastfeeding, they still need to be able to see your breast. And there is a reason why certain areas on your body get darker when you're pregnant, and it's to help the baby see where they need to go. So I don't want to inhibit that at all. So I figured if we get the erythromycin eye drops at the very, very end, by the time we leave the birth center and go home, the eye drops will have done their job and we'll be home and everything will be good. So that is why I chose that. So while we're on the topic of birth plans, I wanted to take the time to announce something super, super, super exciting. I now have an Etsy shop, and on my Etsy shop, you can download a birth plan template. If you yourself are pregnant, or if you know somebody who's pregnant, you can download this template. It's $3.99 on my Etsy shop. You're able to instantly download it, print it out as many times as you need, and you're able to fill it out, and has pretty much everything that you need to figure out a birth plan, how to make your own birth plan, and take it to your doctor or your care provider, your midwife, whoever is delivering your baby, and let them know what you're interested in. Sorry, I keep getting out of breath. In addition to birth plan sheets on my Etsy site, I also have homemaking sheets. So I have put together a full homemaking planner binder that you can instantly download, and you have all the sheets that you need to help you organize your weeks, your day, your month, so that you can have the most successful homemaking experience as possible. So I have a daily planner, as like you saw before. There's a weekly planner. There is also a meal planner, so you can plan out a menu for the week. There is also a monthly planner, so you can jot down all your monthly to-dos as well. A grocery list that you can write down all that you need from the grocery store, as well as, this is my favorite that I came up with. It is the daily checklist. And on this daily checklist, what I meant for this list to be is for those days where you just don't know where to start. You need an extra push out of the bed, out of the door to get things done. So I wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think about 7 tasks here to help you get your day started and to help you start your day on the right foot for those days that you need a little bit of an extra push. Now, this entire homemaking set is available on my Etsy website for $19, or you can buy each individually for $3.99. But let's go back to my Q&A now. So somebody asked me, what things am I doing now to prepare for an unmedicated birth? Well, the biggest thing is that we took a childbirth education class. Now, as a birth doula, I do have the education behind me. I've taken classes before as part of my training, but my husband has not. So the reason we took a class was mainly for his benefit, because there's a lot of things that I know I've explained to him over the years, but he really benefited from the class. We just finished our class. It was through Birth Boot Camp. My doula, her name is Shannon, down here in Southern Maryland. She owns the company Birth As You Wish, and she hosts online virtual childbirth education classes as well as in-person classes. So we took an in-person class with the other doula that works with us. So I actually technically work with Shannon, and then there's another doula that works too, and she's also expecting. So we took the class together, us 3 doulas, for the benefits of our husbands. So, well, not Shannon's husband, but my husband and the other doula's husband. So that was a wonderful class. That was the #1 thing that I recommend clients and myself to do if you are planning an unmedicated birth, to take a childbirth education class, because there's a lot that goes into the process of childbirth and what to expect and the different phases of labor and what it can look like. And it's important that you know those things, and it's important that your partner knows those things as well. Your spouse knows those things, so that they know what to expect and that they are prepared with the tools that they need to help you. The next thing that I'm doing to prepare for an unmedicated delivery is I am really conscious of what I am putting into my body now. So I am trying to maintain a very healthy diet so that I have enough energy and stamina when labor does come, but I've also added additional things that I would not normally add if I wasn't pregnant. So starting at about 20 weeks, I started eating dates. At 20 weeks, I only ate 1 date a day. Now that I am in my 3rd trimester, I am up to about 3 to 4 dates a day. Now, what is the benefit of dates? So believe it or not, a study was done several years ago that proved that when women eat up to 6 dates a day in their 3rd trimester, their labors are shorter. So what the dates do is they help tone and prepare your uterus, because the uterus is a muscle and it needs specific type of nutrition to get ready. So the dates help with that. Another thing that helps with toning the uterus and getting the uterus and cervix ready is red raspberry leaf tea. So I make that by the pitcher every week. I posted a tutorial here on my channel in YouTube Shorts on how to make red raspberry leaf tea. I make it iced because right now it's kind of still summer. Next week is the first week of fall, but it's still hot here in Maryland. So I wanted iced red raspberry leaf tea, and I make it kind of sweet tea style. So I've been having a big glass of that every day to help tone my uterus and my cervix. So that's what I've been doing every day since around my 20-ish weeks mark. Again, at 20 weeks I started with the 1 date a day. Now I'm up to 3 to 4 dates a day. And now I'm up to a big glass of red raspberry leaf tea every day. Once I hit 36, 37 weeks, I'm going to be starting a supplement of evening primrose oil. Evening primrose oil also helps to prepare the cervix to open and soften. So once I'm at 36, 37 weeks, I will be starting that. So those are just some of the things I am preparing for labor, as well as doing some gentle exercises. I go on to spinningbabies.com, and some of the exercises on there we are doing every day, including something called the forward leaning inversion, which I kind of get upside down on the couch every day, and it relieves so much of pressure or strain that your stomach has from you being in an upright position. When you go upside down, it kind of relieves all that stress, and it's great to help baby wiggle into a better, more ideal position for being born. So those are the things that I've been doing. So my friend Darby asks, how have you grown through pregnancy? What have I learned? What have I experienced? Well, I saw this question earlier and I started to think about it, and now anything that I had in my mind has escaped my brain. But I definitely, I'm not holding myself to such a high standard as I did before. I would constantly beat myself up if I didn't get my to-do list done. Before I was pregnant, if I had a to-do list and I didn't get it done in the day that I said I would get it done, I would beat myself up and I would be very disappointed in myself. And I started still doing that while pregnant. So for example, yesterday I had a goal to clean the bathrooms. I I can't do both bathrooms anymore. I used to be able to do both bathrooms the same day, scrub them completely down, get all the nooks and crannies clean and sanitized. I can only do one bathroom a day at a time, mainly because I can't bend over anymore and I get out of breath so easily. So bending over, being on my hands and knees, scrubbing, it gets painful and it gets very exhausting. So I did manage to do one bathroom on Tuesday, got that all nice and tidy. And I went to start the other bathroom, our main bathroom, the one that gets the dirtiest because we use it the most. And I started purging everything. So somebody else also asked if I've started nesting, and yes. So I went into that bathroom and I got so annoyed at how many bottles that there were in there. Different, you know, body lotions, shampoo bottles, all of which, like, they weren't quite empty yet, but they were getting there. And I was just like, you know what? Everything's going. I just felt this intense need to get rid of everything. So I purged everything, and by the time I was done purging, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna buy organizational caddies so that everything stays organized and nothing feels cluttered. So then I went out to the store and I went to Walmart and I got all these little totes and little caddies to organize everything. And I came back and I reorganized it. So now the bathroom is organized, but it's not clean. And by the time I finished doing the organization and I was on my hands and knees doing that because it was under the sink, I was exhausted. And I made dinner, and after dinner I cried a little bit to my husband to tell him how disappointed I was in myself, because here I was, my main task was to clean the bathroom and I didn't do it. I organized the bathroom, but I didn't clean it. And my husband reminded me, he was like, you did do so much though, like the bathroom really needed to be organized, and I did tackle that. So maybe later today, if I'm feeling up to it, I will clean the bathroom. I am feeling a lot better today than I was yesterday because I haven't gone out, I haven't been on my hands and knees yet trying to, you know, organize something crazy like that, and carrying, I had a huge trash bag that I lugged out to the garbage yesterday, just full of junk, empty bottles that just got, you know, left behind in the back of the cabinet. So excuse me. So hopefully today I'll be more, but yeah, definitely trying to not be so hard on myself, not holding myself to such a high standard, and being flexible, because I know once baby gets here, it's no longer my timetable, it will be his timetable, and we will be doing things according to his time schedule, because that's what happens when you have a baby. They need to be fed at certain times of the day, and then, you know, one day they might be going through a growth spurt and they need some extra love and extra support. So whatever you had planned for that day, that gets put on the back burner, because your little person, your little baby is what's the most important. So definitely not holding myself to a high standard anymore, and learning to be more flexible. Darby also asked, what is in your hospital bag? So I have videos planned. I have a video planning. I am planning a video to show you guys what I am packing in my birth center bag. So it's gonna look a whole lot different than a traditional hospital bag, because again, I'm not going to the hospital, I'm going to the birth center. So with a birth center, you have to bring some of your own stuff, because the hospital, there is no hospital to provide it. So I know when you go to the hospital, technically you can just bring your clothes, shoes, a couple toiletries and electronics, and then the hospital gives you diapers and blankets and all that other stuff. But with a birth center, no, I have to bring clothes, I have to bring blankets, I have to bring shoes, I have to bring clothes for myself for both before labor, after labor, toiletries, all that fun stuff. So I am planning a video for that. I'm also planning a nursery reveal video as well. We have been slowly every weekend working on the nursery, and I am super, super excited to bring it to you guys once it's done. Right now, it's a little bit of a mess in there. We had our baby shower last weekend, and I have tons of gift bags in there. I need to go through one by one again, write everybody a thank you card, and then put all the gifts away into their proper spot. So I will be bringing you a what's in my birth center bag video, and I will be bringing you a nursery video in the near future. Well guys, I think this video is going to be quite long. I found myself rambling a bit, please leave me your comments down below. I love reading all of your comments. YouTube has been giving me a little bit of an issue though, because sometimes I'll get comments, I'll get a notification that somebody commented, and then I'll go look for that comment and the comment isn't there. Like YouTube deletes it. I'm not deleting it. I want to go back and respond to all of your comments and like all of your comments, and I like having a discourse with you guys here online, but sometimes by the time I get to it, for some reason YouTube marked it as spam or something, so I don't know why that happens. But know that I am seeing it, even if I'm just seeing a portion of your comments in the notification. I am seeing it and I do appreciate them all. So leave me a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, and for doula content, follow me on TikTok as well. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!